Hi, this is Suchadatta, your SST teacher, now with the last chapter of geography, which is lifelines of our national economy. Well, children, we've been talking about various sectors, primary, secondary, tertiary, which have been influencing the economy of the country. And some of the manufacturing units have been called as the backbone of the economy, whereas some of them are actually called as very essential for successful running of economy. But what are those factors or what are those ways which actually call themselves as the lifelines of our national economy? Naturally, transportation seems to be the lifeline of our national economy. Unless there is no transportation, we cannot move from one place to another, then what happens? Life becomes stagnant. When life is stagnant, the economy will definitely become stagnant. Therefore, for a moving economy, we need to have a moving country. And a moving country can only occur when you have systematic and well planned transportation in the country. Before I pick up the chapter, as ever, I would like to tell you about few terms which you must know in order to understand the lifelines of our national economy. The first is transport. What is actually transport? In a layman's term, transport is in fact just a system by which goods and passengers are carried from one place to another. That's transport. So, what's happening? Whether it's the goods or the people, they are just moving from one place to another, they're being carried is transport. Next is trade. Simply, trade is exchange of goods and commodities. Buying and selling of things is actually trade. It can be both within the country as well as foreign trade. Next is state highways. State highways are those roads which connect the state capital with the major cities of the state. Remember this, it's just the capital of the state which is being connected to all the big cities, but within the state itself. Therefore, it's called as state highway. Next is a port. Well, most of you know what port is. Port is a commercial part of a harbor where loading and unloading is done in the ships. That is, the goods are being carried. That's a port. Personal communication. Personal communication is communication between two or more than two people on personal basis. That is, they are talking to each other, they are sending emails to each other, they are sending cards and greetings to each other, but it is either between two individuals or group of individuals, something which they would not like to make it public. Next are the pipelines. Well, pipelines are the new means of transportation that have developed now, and basically what is being transported in these pipelines is the oil and the natural gas. That is, it is being carried from one place to another. Next is national highways. We've already seen the state highways. Now we see the national highways. That is, the capital city gets connected with all the metropolitan cities of India. That's the difference between a national highway. That is, when the capital city is getting connected with all the major cities of the country. and I continue with the next terms in the next clipping. Continuing with the terms and the concepts, first of all you must understand, when we talk of the lifelines of our national economy, it does not merely means transporting the people and the goods from one place to another. It could be the exchange of ideas, it could be the exchange of feelings that we have. That's all contributing to the lifelines of the national economy. Now, mass communication. You've already seen the personal communication. Now, what is a mass communication? When you reach to the wider masses, when you reach to bigger sections of people, that is the time that this is termed as mass communication. When you actually capture the people on a large scale, that's when you're communicating to them, that's the mass communication. International trade. International trade, as the word suggests, it's a trade which is being carried on between different countries. Next is import. Import is the goods which is brought into a country from a foreign country. And what would be the opposite of it? It would be export. Export would be when the goods are actually sold to another country from our own country, that would be export. Next is hinterland. Hinterland is an area which is served by a port. Next is a harbor. Harbor is a deep coast of sea where ships are anchored safely. That is, they actually rest there. Next is border roads. Border roads are constructed along the international frontier. Now, why do we need to construct roads on the international frontier? Merely for security reasons, because it's not the people and the goods that are moving on these roads. Balance of trade. Balance of trade, how do we find out if actually the trade is not into losses and whether we are in a profitable condition or not? Then when we have to take out the balance of a trade, it's the difference between the total value of export and import of goods of a nation in a particular year is actually the balance of trade. So, these were all the new terms which you must remember while I am repeating again and again these concepts. But I am going to tell you about the 1 mark questions which are generally asked and which you must know from the chapter in the next clipping.